Hello, I'm Adam J. Schultz and welcome to another video. Today I'll be talking about sending my novel away to a beta reader to see where I was and how close I am to publishing. And this is the review of what she wrote to me. Before I get started, I'm extremely humbled. This is my 21st video. Everyone that watches my videos, I am humbled beyond belief. Thank you so much for taking the time. It hits me right here, it really does. I never thought I'd get this far, but now I'm on the way. One important thing, this young lady's name is Berenice Hamza. I'll have her descriptions and where to find her in the description of the video, yeah? She's way cool. So I'm going to be reading from the computer and then giving my response to her review, okay? So here we go. Go here. Everything is done in sections and segments. I'll explain it as I go along. So, introduction. To be honest, I really liked your manuscript, probably because it's the kind of fiction book I read daily. As I mentioned to you, I seem to love reading. I read about 30 books a year and am a huge lover of action. I was interested in your prologue and I'm not disappointed that I agreed to work with you. This is one of the biggest things for me. It was a struggle for maybe 18 months. I knew I had a story, but I knew the start of my story. It didn't start off with a bang. And I couldn't quite work out how to start off with a bang. Then when I stopped trying, when I stopped thinking, it came to me and I'm like, that really excited me, yeah? Okay. As I was just saying, first chapter opening. Your novel should begin with something that intrigues and draws the reader in a triggering incident, an important event, a mystery, or a problem to be solved. And that's what it's all about, getting straight into the thick of the action. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to start with a fight, a battle, or cataclysmic event. At the very least, the beginning of a cataclysm. Again, that is present in your first chapter. So I'm happy. As I said, I started with a bang. But what makes a good first chapter, I should say, is a great opening paragraph. Those few lines that make or break a reader's first impression of your book, in my opinion. The first paragraph and even the first sentence are both critically important. They must grab your reader immediately, take them by the hand and guide them into the world of your story. And your first chapter does this perfectly. That's very happy that just it came to me, yeah? Now we go into characters. This for me is like pretty funny, yeah? To begin with, I think you have developed your characters quite well. They all, in my opinion, have a purpose. Whether it's the development of other characters or the development of the plot or the story. On the other hand, there are quite a few, 29 if I'm correct. The advice I give regularly to authors is to work with a good number of characters is to add an index. And I'm like, when she said 29 characters, I'm like, I knew there was a bit, but not 29, so yeah. Other than that, your characters are well developed. Your characters have personality traits that reflect this, realistic actions and emotions, as well as ease of understanding for the average reader and complexity comparable to the real person. I took the liberty of giving a few small comments on some of them. Before I go into the comments, I can't read with glasses. Before I go into the comments, I just wanted to say that when I write and I go deep into the characters, it drains me like nothing else. Because I live and breathe the character I'm writing about. So I just how would I feel, how would I react if I was that character to certain situations. Now, a bit of a spoiler alert for the first novel, because I'm going to talk about the few main characters, but I feel it's important, yeah? Ariel. I thought she was very well described throughout the novel. Some authors get rid of the descriptions at the first opportunity. You took your time developing her and introducing her to the reader. I like the way you describe how she feels and how she lives in her animal form. I like the relationship with her and Romulus. She is almost like a mentor, mother, sister from the beginning. Ariel is a magical person, yeah? So I'm very happy. That's one of the things when writing a novel or a story, you've got to find the fine balance of describing a character. When do you do it? Do you do it at the start, in a big bunch of descriptive words, or just nice and slow? With each character, they had their own pace of me letting you know who they are, what they look like, and why they're doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Now we'll go to the protagonist, Romulus, he's based on me. How cool is that? He is sincerely described beautifully. Whether it's his thoughts, his dialogues, I found it very natural and realistic. His evolution throughout the novel was, in my opinion, top-notch because it was realistic. But it's mostly the acceptance of his gifts as well as the quest. The responsibility that falls on him, I was able to put myself in his shoes without too much difficulty and live with him throughout his story. That's another thing, the protagonist, I knew I wanted from the start of the story to the end of the story, there needed to be a lot of growth. That growth needed to be through a lot of pain. And even though this is the first book of the first novel of a 6-book series, I wanted to have a lot of growth for the protagonist in this novel to say, he's grown this far, what else is he possible? What else is possible? Thank you. There we go. Pip, another main character. I loved her from the moment she walked in on the first scene of the prologue. If I remember correctly, other people said the same thing to you. I can see why. She's such a badass and I love it. Pip is a supporting character to the protagonist. They have sort of like a father-daughter relationship. I actually, she's got a really smart-ass attitude. Very good with one-liners, very street smart. I based her attitude on my beautiful daughter, especially when my daughter was a teenager. She was very quick at comebacks and put down. So I base characters on people I know in life. That's the only way I can do this, yeah? One more, Remus, the antagonist. He's perfect in his role as the antagonist. In my opinion, his relationship and dynamic with Romulus is perfect, but also his role in the development and evolution of Romulus. In my opinion, the fight between him and Romulus shows a lot about what Romulus means to Remus, but also the powers of Romulus. You can see his frustration when he says, "Why don't you die?" and he promises to destroy him. So we've got two conflicting characters and they bounce off each other really, really cool, yeah? Now we go to plot. When I first started writing books, I had no idea what a plot was. Nothing. So I get excited, so hey, we'll go into the plot. Number one, create a sense of dream and wonder. I think you met this challenge perfectly. I felt very quickly and easily immersed in this little world that you created. That's what I want from this. I want people to read my novels and just fall into it. It's not about money or fame for me. It's like, wow, I want to hear what people are saying in their feedback. If I can put something into my little world, that's it. I'm happy, yeah? Number two, work on your fantasy world. As mentioned above, you have managed to create an imaginary world quite believable. This adds even more cachet to your plot and realism. Number 3, stay consistent. Despite the large number of characters and action, the story remained very coherent from beginning to end for me. That was a hard thing to do, because when I first came up with the concept of this novel, I couldn't write it from start to finish. It was all fragmented like a jigsaw puzzle. And I actually started from end, then I worked back towards the beginning. That's the only way I can process how to make a story work. Number 4, focus on action. There's nothing to say about that. You properly focused on the action in this story. I'm an action fanatic and loved, like one of your previous beta readers, the battle that goes on for quite a while, even though it scared me a bit to imagine a single battle scene for 36 pages. I learnt from Charles Dickens. This is one of the things I love about writing. With Charles Dickens, he had a system where when something really cool is about to happen or something really bad, he will stop and write about something else. For that, in my writing, my stories, that adds fuel to the fire, so to say, and a very rapid pace. I have, like, in this story alone, probably 6 little stories that intertwine, sort of like string that makes up a big length of rope. So that's it there. Let's go to here. Number 5, echo reality. I think I've mentioned this before, but since you've done a great job in the setting, and even though it's fiction, you've made it realistic and believable, all because of the fact that the characters and their reactions, interactions are realistic. Taking care of fight scenes, there's nothing to say except this is once again a challenge taken. Your fight scenes are top notch in my opinion. We can follow them very well. They are realistic and plausible. I personally loved it. Now, this next one is important to me, yeah? Start with a 1-volume novel, like me being a series. This is a tip I give regularly because some authors get carried away and get tangled up with what's going on in their many books. They make things even more complicated by forgetting plots, forgetting to answer certain questions. In my opinion, this first book ended as an excellent note, which allows the writing of a sequel full of intrigue, action and suspense. See, with falling in love with writing and everything, all the experts have told me if you're going to break out into publishing, start off with a standalone novel. If you want to do a series or write a series, what you need to do is the first novel of the series, tie it up so it can be a standalone. If no one wants to go for book 2, that's okay, it's a standalone. I wanted to break that mould, to sort of say, no, this is bullshit. I'm doing this my way. And for someone like this to say that, I'm like very excited. So at the moment I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. Before I was taking it cruisy, but now everything's being pushed forward and very excited, looking at cover designs now, and I'm like, yep, it's a reality. So I'm going to finish this long ass video. This is long for me, yeah? So like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay creative. Thank you.